In this demo, we'd like to implement a simple directory watcher in Java on Linux. So we'll start by creating a new Java project. Let's call this directory watcher. Okay, directory watcher. And in here we will just create a new package called watcher. And let's start by creating a class which will be our directory watcher. So our class will actually start watching a directory. So let's create a constructor for the directory watcher, which will receive as argument the path of the directory. We'll need to define also a callback, so let's go in here and create a callback. Let's call this directory watcher callback. The idea is that we will notify by calling a method of the callback each time something is changed in the directory. So let's say that we'll have only one method here on event, which will receive a watch event of a path that has been changed, and this will be the event. This may throw an exception, a generic checked exception. So let's say that our directory watcher will receive a directory watcher callback, this callback, and it will register different kind of events. So this will be events, a list of events that we like to watch. So we'll have different kinds to watch. Okay, first what we need to do is to create a watcher. So let's create a watcher. Come on, a watcher, and we take the path, we get the path. Okay, we get the path. I will just organize the inputs for that. We take the path, we get the file system of the path, so we get the file system, and then we create a new watcher, and I will define this parameter. This may throw an exception, an IO exception, so our constructor will do so. Eventually we will have to register with the path, so we take the paths again and we get the path for this path argument, and we register with our watcher the events, or in our case the kinds. Let's just call this events, and this will be the normal the name for that. Okay, so this is the way we handle this, but we also need to store the callback in order to be able to notify this. So let's just store the callback, and this will be our callback, and let's just define this as a field in our class. Now, because the file system watcher does not support asynchronous execution, we need to listen for the changes. So let's just create a new thread to do that, and we'll run the thread here. So we start the thread and we'll let our class implement runnable, so that our directory watcher will provide a run method for that. Okay, now we are able to activate the watcher, but let's assume that we'd like to do a try resource with this. So let's implement auto-closable in order to close the listening when the object is removed. It's when we call the finalize on it. So actually what we do here would be when we close the watcher, we'd like to close the listening. So for that, let's just define here a boolean variable called running and make it true, and let's define the field here, because I like to be able to change the variable no matter from what thread. I will declare this as volatile, and I'll make sure that the running is reset to false on the close method. So what I'll do here, we'll do a while true, and in the while loop I will take the event. So I'll call watcher dot take, which will return a key, and this might throw an exception as well. So I will just surround this with try catch. In case I have an exception, the only thing that I need to do, I will just continue. Of course, this is already done, but for the sake of putting something here. So I have to make sure in the end that I reset the key just to to release the blocking on the treatment of the events. And what I'm doing in between is to take the events out of the key. So I'm polling for the events, and I will receive a generic event. But the idea is that I know I'm registering with this. I can only register events of generic type path. So therefore I call the callback, it's my handler, I call its own event, and the event has to be casted to watch event of type path. And I have to make sure that when I cast this, because this may throw an exception, the one that I put there, I will surround this with try catch, and in case I have an exception, I will continue dispatching the next event to the callback. And this is saying that I'm doing an unchecked cast, but nevertheless I know what I'm doing, so this is not a problem. It's the same with this one as well. Okay, so the running is set to true on this, and in the end is set to false. It's not accessed by anyone, so it's not used to read except for the while. Okay, my mistake, I put a while through here. It was the intention to put a while running here, so sorry for that. Okay, so now that I did that, I'm able to receive the events and consume the events. And now let's just create a console to demonstrate that. So let's just go in here and create a new program which will be our console and will contain the main. In here, in our program, I'd like to check if I have one argument. So if the arguments.length is equal to 1, then this will be the path. What I need to do here would be to create a directory watcher, which will be my watcher in this case. I'm creating the directory watcher with the arguments, the only argument I have, and I will have to pass here a callback also, and the events, in order to take the events in the standard watch event kinds. This is the class. I would like to import all the constants, so I'll do a static import here of everything. And the events I like to watch for would be entry create, entry modify, and entry delete. So for those events, let's define a callback here. So I'll create a directory watcher callback, which will be my callback, and I'll just consume the result here. So what this may throw an exception. This is the point. So what I'll do here, because this can throw an exception, I will add a try catch in here, and in case I have an exception, I'll then output the localized message or the message of the exception. Okay, but this is already included in the exception, so I will just output the cause of the exception here. and just for the sake of disposing this, I will add a finally block, and that's about all. The rest I don't care. It's about the unchecked the list of arguments. Okay, so what I will do when receiving, when not be notified for an event, I will just take the path out from the event. The event has a context, which is a path. I will convert this to file, and I will take the absolute path of the resource, and I will then take the name of the event, which will be, I have the access to for that if I take the kind and take the name of the change. And now all I have to do is to output what path has been changed and what is the name of the change. Now in here, while listening for events, I will create a scanner. So I will define here a scanner and create a new scanner on top over the system in the console for reading. And what I'll do a while true, and I'll try to read in the scanner the next line, sorry for that. So I take the next line, and here I define a variable line called line, and in the end, sorry for this, and in the end, if the line is null, so it was, the console was closed, or I typed exit, no matter the case, then I do a system exit of 0. So I will end the processing. Okay, so let's just do a test on what we did. So let's test it. So I ran my application and it was terminated because I didn't, let me just check what we did. So this is a while true. I take the next line, just a second. The directory watcher is starting, setting the running on true. Let me just debug this for you, because it was clearly a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. I forgot to add, sorry for that, I forgot to add the path as argument. I have no argument here, so that's why. Okay, so let's just listen the root folder. Let's start that again, sorry, my mistake. Let's make sure that it is closed, and let's start this again. Okay, so let's fire up a console, and as you can see, I'm in the root folder. If I list the content of the root folder, this is the content, and let's just create another directory called tmp. As you can see here, it says that the directory, this one, was created. Okay, now let's then create another file by just listening with all the details, the content of the file, and I will just output this in a text.txt. So this is the file that has been created, and first it was created and then the content was written inside it, so it was modified. If I echo some text and append this to my text.txt file, as you may see, the file has been modified again. And if I remove the file, or if I remove even the directory, so if I go and list the content, I see that I have a tmp directory, also have a test.txt file. That is because I listed inside the directory. Let's just move the test.txt in our tmp folder. As you can see, we are watching also the recursively the content of the root folder. And now if I list the content of the folder, I see that I have a .tmp, and if I remove the folder recursive with all the content inside, I see that the folder has been deleted. So basically this is how it works, and this is how we can implement a simple file system watcher, or in this case a directory watcher. So remember that we do the following. We created a watch service. In order to do that, we take the path, we access the file system, and we create a new instance of the watch service. Then we register with the path for this watch service some filtering events, some kind of events. So as you may see from the main program, we are waiting for entry like create, modify, or delete. So events that means an entry has been created, modified, or deleted. Now what we did was to create a thread and start the thread to listen for the changes inside the watcher, and in here we take any change of the watcher, and with this key, which is pointing to the queue of the watcher, we can poll for events. When we poll for events, we take the event, and in order to notify the consumer of our watcher that something has been changed, that an event was emerged, actually we then notify with this event the callback. In the end, don't forget to reset the key. So basically it says that I've consumed all the events, I don't have to wait to consume the events no longer with this key, with this reference to the queue of the watcher, and I can wait to get the next change in the file system, and I will take the next key and I will poll for the event, for the changes that happened this time. So as you can see here from the console, this is what happened, and of course if I type exit, this will close the program. So thanks for watching.